In this video, we are going to talk about how to find scholarly sources for your ADJ100 paper number 2. I'm Dawn Emsalim, and I'm your librarian for this course. You can get in touch with me by Googling Dawn Salve Library, and there you'll find my email address. What are we going to do today? Well, the first thing we're going to do is to talk about how to create a research strategy so we can more efficiently find the articles that your professor wants you to use. We're going to talk about, as part of that, identifying search words and phrases that are going to be most effective to try in the different tools, depending on what subject matter you're working with and which search tool you're working with. As part of this project, we're going to actually be finding sources for your paper because you'll be completing an activity after this video where you'll actually find the articles that you'll use for this paper and for your workshop with the Writing Center. And you're going to practice using the library's article search or EBSco databases and the library's book search or library catalog. So what's first? Always, the first step is to look very carefully at your paper assignment from your professor. So Professor Joyce would like you to investigate 2 different topics, both in the context of community policing. The first looks at community policing and the broken windows theory in the New York City Police Department, and the other looks at community policing and problem-oriented policing in the Boston Gun Project with Operation Ceasefire. Professor Joyce pointed out that he'd like you to use a minimum of 4 scholarly sources. So that could be books or chapters or articles. And he would like you to use in-text citations and APA style with a reference page. So to create a research strategy, we're going to ask ourselves 4 questions. The first is what information is required. And in this case, Professor Joyce would like you to look at scholarly analysis of your topic. So this is different than a news analysis or other types of treatment of your topic. This is analysis by scholars. And what types of sources? Where are you going to find this? You're going to find this in scholarly articles and scholarly books or book chapters. Then we're talking about what search tools are going to lead you to that most effectively. And the 2 search tools that I think will be most useful for this are the library's article search and the book catalog. So we're going to dive into those. And then which search words or phrases will you try with each tool? So searching is iterative, which means that sometimes with one search tool, you'll try your phrases or words that you've chosen and it won't work. So then you try different words or phrases that you can use as alternates. And then if that doesn't work, you can go to another search tool. So for the first session, the first subject, you might be looking at broken windows as a phrase to look for, and then you might combine that with another search phrase like problem-oriented policing or community policing or the Boston Gun Project or Operation Ceasefire. You'll try these phrases in different search tools and see what you get back. And it's expected that you'll sometimes not get the results you want. It's just a situation where you try again and again. And you would want to keep in mind that library search tools often work different than Google. So Google, you can type in your entire question. You could probably copy and paste Professor Joyce's entire sentences and you would get results. But library and scholarly materials use a different search algorithm and they search different material. So you really have to pick out the more specific words that you want to use. This brings us to our next discussion, which is what you're going to be looking at when you get into your research. And what we're doing is we're looking at the scholarly conversation surrounding your topic. So the scholarly conversation is like walking into a party where you don't know anybody, and everybody's talking about community policing or broken windows theory or the Boston Gun Project and Operation Ceasefire. And the people who are talking in your scholarly conversation, or the people that you want to find, the party you want to find where people are talking is not a party of the general public. You want to find the scholars in criminal justice or psychology or other fields who are talking about your topic. And they may have interesting perspectives on the effectiveness, the application, and the effects of your policy. So the scholarly conversation is something that has been going on from the genesis of your concept, the broken windows theory, or community policing, and has carried on through time and evolved over time. And your job is to find the arguments and opinions and controversies within that. So we have some terms we need to understand before we jump into this. A database. A database in library land is a collection of different types of information, and it's organized in a way that allows information to be easily found or accessed. And that means in library land, it's journals, collections of journals on different subjects they're grouped together, and you can search them more easily knowing that. References and citations are, these are how you identify the scholarly conversation that's going on. An author may be talking about a subject, and he's actually in conversation with other people who are talking about the subject. So he may reference other authors and their ideas in the paper. And these are always found in scholarly articles. These are citations where you find in-text citations, which are parentheses, which say usually the author's name, the author of the idea that the other author is speaking about, and then a date or page number. Peer review is a process in scholarly journals where the articles are examined by peers, so other scholars in that field, and they identify problems with the argument, things that the author left out, and they say, you have to go back and fix these things, and then it's revised, and it's not until it's gone through revision or several layers of revision that it's published in a scholarly journal. Scholarly journals they have subject matter that's different than popular journals. It's usually in-depth accounts of original research or analysis of particular ideas, but from a scholarly perspective and engaging with other scholars. Usually journal articles have a very laser-focused approach to thinking about things, so they may have a very specific angle they're using. The audience is other scholars, researchers, you now, students, and sometimes professionals will read these journals to get an idea of what practices they should be engaging in the field. The authors are almost always scholars or professors or people who have a specialization in the subject matter. And the language is a little bit difficult to understand, so you should expect to struggle a little bit in reading and understanding these articles at first, but over time it will get easier. Popular and trade journals are more focused on current news and analysis of that news. So it's not, you're going to find more to the minute information in popular and trade journals. And your field has a lot of trade journals, which will help you to understand the issues that are coming right up. The subject matter also covers practical information, and it's really geared toward practitioners and helping to keep them abreast of the latest things that are happening. The audience is either interested lay people in the general public or practitioners in the field. And the authors are either people who are practitioners or professionals in the field, police officers, police chiefs, or journalists who understand the field and are reporting on it. The language is usually much easier to understand and conversational in tone. So with that, let's jump into the library's book catalog. So you get to the library homepage by Googling Salve Library, and you'll get to McKillop Library. And what we'll do is we'll take some phrases, and the first thing we're going to check out is we're going to check out, this is the book search. We'll try broken windows and see what comes back. And one thing that we want to point out is we've got 6,419 results, and there's a combination of different formats. So we have ebooks and print books. And the next thing we're going to want to look at is the date. So the broken windows theory came out from your professor's assignment, and apparently that article came out in 1982. So since then, people have really been thinking a lot about this topic. So there's been a lot of engagement in the issues, even internationally, in application of this. So what you might want to do is, this book is available in print and a librarian can help you find it if you'd like to go up in the stacks and find it, or we could click on View eBook. And this is going to allow you to read this book online. So we can click on Read Online, and you can look at the chapters and see if there's a chapter that appeals to you. And if there's something that you would like to read, maybe the overview, you can click on that. And if you'd like, you can open the PDF. It will give you the chapter with the APA citation, and this will download it to your computer. If you go back to the catalog results, and this will be in your activity, so I want to point it out, you can cite this book. You click on the Cite button. You'll select your citation style, and it will provide you with a citation. Now, you want to be careful because sometimes there's erroneous information like this, so just read it and make sure it's the proper information. You can also get a link to the book right here if you want to save it. And there are other ebook providers, so the interface may look different. In this case, this ebook is in our EBSCO, and so you can see that the interface is different, but you can still look at the different chapters, and you can download the chapters or click on them and read them in the web page. The permanent link is right here, or you can cite right here, or you can go back to the library catalog and use the cite or link button. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look in the library's article search. So if we click on this tab, this gray highlighted tab here, you'll see that we're looking in articles in EBSCO host databases. So these are one of our many databases. There are some others down here. And let's try a different subject matter. So we can try Operation Ceasefire, for example, and see what comes back. And in the databases, we have 1,000 results. And actually, this one looks pretty good. So if you were interested in this article, you could click on the title. And this would allow you to open the PDF. And you can also download it right here by clicking on this Download PDF. And what you can also do from this page is get the citation right here by clicking on this little yellow box and copy and paste the citation, and that you can get it. You can also get a permalink by clicking on this button. And the permalinks right here, and I like to point this out because every year in the library we have students who do hours of research and they collect all the links from this link up here, and unfortunately this link never works again. It has what we call a session ID in it, and that makes it so that it identifies the date and time and place you were searching, and you can never use it again. So if you want to use the permalink, you've got to use this one. The other thing that you can do in this database is you can combine terms. So if we wanted to do articles that were not only about Operation Ceasefire, but also community policing, we could, usually it's good to spell it right because the database is very picky about that. But you can combine them, and sometimes it doesn't work, and that's fine. So then you can try other words, such as Boston, and that may that did limit it to 35. But we have problem-oriented policing in this one. And this is a good example because if there was an article you really wanted, and you can float your cursor over this to look at what we call the abstract or summary of the article, and you want this article, you can click on this Find Full Text Request item. And this will search all of our library databases to see if it's somewhere else in another database. And here it is. Yes, it's in our Sage Journals database. And you have to look a little bit to figure out where the download button is, but it's right here in Sage. And there are other ways that these are showing up as academic journals. So these are telling you right away that they're scholarly. This, where it says periodical, this is more popular publication, U.S. News and World Report. So say you wanted this article, you would click on Find Full Text. It would look in our databases and it put us in another one. Sometimes this doesn't redirect you to a database and it tells you that we don't have it. And if that happens, which isn't really happening right now because we have a lot of journals in criminology and Sage, you could place an interlibrary loan request and it would take you through that process pretty simply. So these are the main things I wanted to you to take away from our library research session. And next you can proceed to your activity to get some practice.